Hi everyone, welcome to my latest update, the 15th weekend of lockdown in the UK. I say lockdown, I mean certain aspects of life are sort of slowly returning to normal. Even the pubs are opening tomorrow with 1 meter social distancing, and I think theme parks, amusement parks, roller coasters, rides, that kind of stuff, they're opening tomorrow. So let's hope the whole country doesn't go mad, get really, really drunk and make a mess of things. That we've got to have faith. Weather this past week's been a bit sort of changeable, really, and it's really windy last weekend. My collinear blew down again. I think I might have mentioned that to you guys, or maybe I didn't, but it's sort of swaying around in the tree, sort of towards the bottom of the garden at the moment, and apparently it's going to be pretty windy this weekend. It's interesting, actually. I was just checking the SWR on it, and it's currently about 2, just about 2. This is my Metrovna antenna analyzer. When I first put it up there, it was about 2.4, so you can get away with that. An SWR of sort of 2 or 3 on 2 meters. Something happened to it and it went up to 6, and then I still used it, but without unknowingly, and nobody could hear me. But with 2 point something, it does still work. So there's something, it's moving around a lot, which probably explains why the SWR is a bit variable. But yeah, earlier on it was 1.8. So thank goodness for the hobby of radio is all I can say. This weekend I've got a bit of sort of ham radio stuff going on. I've got a competition, actually, a contest. I've done sort of 3 or 4 of these now, and they are fun for a couple of hours. I don't think I could sit around doing one for sort of 24 hours, and I know some people do that. The one I'm doing is called the VHF NFD. This is it here. So basically, it's a contest tomorrow afternoon from 2 until 4 o'clock UTC on 6 meters, various modes. I'll be using SSB, FM, possibly AM, let's see. And there's a sort of standard protocol for these VHF contests. You basically exchange signal reports. You give each other a serial number. So your first contact is 001, and then it's just a sequential list of numbers. And then you give your 6-character locator. So for me, that's IO91 Hotel Sierra. And then the sections, there are 3 of them. I'm going to be in the restricted section, where the power output must not be more than 100 watts, which of course it won't be, and you can only use 1 antenna, which is what I'm going to do. I'm using the G5RV, and you're not allowed to use stacked or bayed antenna arrays effectively, and there are limitations on the size of dishes, etc. So that's about it. And then you get 8 days to upload your results. Now I've done, as I said, 2 or 3 of these. Actually, I think I might have done 4 in the past. The first time I did one of these, I actually made 13 or 14 contacts, which I thought was pretty good. So it just goes to show you don't need like massive power or a huge antenna to make some contacts and gain a few points for your club. The results I put into the contest logging software Minos, which is this. And the beauty of Minos is that you can actually kind of upload a particular contest, which then automatically populates some of the fields that you need, and then you just sort of do the rest. So VHF NFD is the contest from the VHF calendar, and then my station, my QTH, a few details, etc. And if you're really fast, what you do is you update Minos as you're going along. So when you make a contact, you put their call sign straight into this, the reception, signal reports, etc., sequential serial numbers and all the rest of it. I'm not that quick yet. I think that comes with time and experience, so I always end up writing them down in my log, and then uploading all the information to Minos after the event, so to speak. And then you then can save it as a file that you then upload to the RSGB website, and you get your results back a bit further down the line. I'm going to be using the ICOM IC 756, which I've got matched to 6 meters. That's the FT8 tones that you can hear there. Matched to my G5RV with the MFJ 948. And so this is the rig that I'm going to be using for the competition tomorrow, primarily because I want to use my 7300 for some other HF stuff, but my G5RV does match perfectly to 6 meters, but you can't use a lot of power. Excuse me while I just take a sip of my tea. If you go above 40 watts, you do get a bit of arcing, or you can do in the MFJ, which is not good news, as you guys know. What it means is that the matching unit is having to do quite a lot of work to present a sort of a reasonable impedance, you know, around 50 ohms to the radio. So, but that's fine. You know, I'll use 40 watts, 50 watts if I can get away with it. Not a problem at all. And it's nice to actually use the 756 now and then. It doesn't get a lot of use these days, but it'd be nice to use that radio. It's not a radio I'm ever going to get rid of. And then obviously the 7300, which I'm loving.
It's just one element. A single plane, just a two-dimensional antenna, not three-dimensional. And the circumference is about 20 meters. And I see it is an open wire line. And I have a relay at the top of the antenna. And I open that relay for 50.
What's happened with this radio is that I've posted a couple of videos on YouTube and you guys have seen them, and the receive audio just seems absolutely amazing, particularly compared to the FT991. But also, having tweaked the sort of tone and treble, and the audio settings on this radio are a lot more straightforward than the Yaesu. I've been sort of complimented on my TX audio as well. Apparently it's much clearer. There was too much bass on the audio with the Yaesu, and I probably could have fixed that, but there was, how can I put this politely? It's bloody complicated. Synchronizing all the sort of settings for the sort of optimum audio on the FT991. You've got to spend a lot of time. You've got to invest a lot of time doing it. Whereas on this Icom, it's much more straightforward with more immediate results. But even where the band isn't in very good shape, which at the moment 20 meters isn't in particularly good shape, the audio is brilliant on it in comparison. The audio really is something else on it. One of my subs actually asked me how I got the spectrum scope line green, and that's actually pretty easy. If you hit expand set and hold it, you get this sort of menu system coming up, and what you do is and I got this off a guy on YouTube, if you can set the waveform color to whatever you want. I've set it to green, which is what a guy on YouTube did, by just adjusting the numbers on the, I guess it's RGB, and then set the waveform color max hold, not the line, to black. So effectively it doesn't actually fill the spectrum isn't filled in. So that then just gives you a line. Now you can set the line to adjust this to whatever color you want, but I did green because it looked good on that guy's radio, and then you just get a green line rather than when the radio first arrived, I got it was white and it was filled in and looked a bit messy. So let's get some audio.
The problem is, well, maybe it's not a problem, but I feed the antenna at the bottom. The antenna is of diamond shape. So one corner is at the top and another corner is at the bottom.
So you can see the audio waveform. Not sure how useful that is really, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think I'm going to find that particularly useful. It's just a sort of clever little feature. So I'm going to use the 7300 this weekend, obviously on the Sked tonight with Harwell Amateur Radio Society, but then do some stuff on 20 meters and 40. I'm actually currently using my end-fed wire that I put up for top band, which matches perfectly on 20, 40 and 80 as well as top band. This is that wire right now, and
between 20 meters and 10 meters.
Yeah, works very well on all bands basically. On those bands. I don't need to water my ground rod and radials because it's basically been raining on and off all week. As long as it doesn't sort of all fall over in the wind this weekend, I'll be looking good. So basically, you know, I'm going to be using this radio as much as I can over the weekend, and no doubt I'll be giving you guys some updates on it as well. But you know, with some more videos on the channel. But yeah, brilliant radio. I could sit and just listen. In fact, I do that. I spend a lot more time listening to radio hams these days than I've ever used to in the past. Well, at least in the past couple of weeks.
And it depends on you, what tuner you like, and you should.
If you set the reference down, it's better to set the reference as low as possible because then you only really see any signal peaks become clearer. So I've just set the reference level now down to -7 dBs. And you can see that the waterfall now is much clearer with that signal. So yeah, so that basically a great radio that I'm glad I bought. And you know, I just get the sense that the 7300, if you think about it in terms of performance as a function of cost, I just think it makes more sense than some of the sort of top end radios. I mean, the Yaesu FT101 DX, I mean, what is that? I mean, I think there are 100 and 200 amp versions of that radio, sort of £3,500. I mean, it's such a lot of money. You know, fundamentally, you want a radio that, I know that radio's got a lot of bells and whistles and does a lot of stuff that I probably never ever use anyway. But, you know, the bottom line is that, you know, it's, what I fundamentally want is a radio that receives well with good audio and transmits, you know, with good audio that's fairly straightforward to use. And I just can't see beyond the 7300 really. You know, particularly just, you know, if you're really only interested in HF, I just think it's a brilliant radio, and I'm glad I bought it. Another brilliant radio is the FRG 7700, of course. Which I've been using quite a lot actually to simply
there's just so many unknowns.
Listen to the radio.
How together are they?
Now I don't know, some of you guys, this is actually using the Bonito Mega Loop. You can hear a bit of noise at the moment.
You never know.
I was just before we move on, isn't that all football fans do? Does any football fan ever fancy their own team to win? I don't think they do.
So I listen to TalkSport quite a lot. I listen to Radio 4 quite a lot, and I've got into the habit of listening to these stations, sat in here on my desktop radios. And I'm going to be listening to TalkSport tomorrow because my team, Wolverhampton Wanderers, I don't know if you can see that or not, but are playing Arsenal, and they had better win, otherwise it's literally going to ruin my weekend. I think it's live on TalkSport, so I'll be listening to TalkSport tomorrow. I think kickoff's at 5 or 5:30. Yeah, I'm listening to the radio on these communications receivers a lot more recently, and I don't know why. I just prefer the audio. The audio on the 7700 and the 8800 below it is really, really superb. The audio on the JRC NRD 525 for me is a bit bassy, but it's okay. But it's a little bit bassy. The audio on the ICR75, it probably isn't quite bassy enough, but on AM, on long wave in particular, it can sound amazing. And the audio on the HF 150 is for its size is very, very good, is all I can say really. Yeah, I'll be listening to the football on the 7700. So I do actually listen to the radio as well. I don't just sort of hunt for DX. So I'll be listening to TalkSport tomorrow. So come on Wolves is all I can say on that one. And then the other thing I'm going to be doing actually is I'm going to do a little bit of DXing on shortwave. The way I do this is that, well, over the years of running the channel, in my experience, most most subscribers prefer, I think, to watch a reception video using a sort of traditional radio. So if you guys want to hear my reception of, I don't know, News Talk 1010 Toronto on medium wave, I think you get more out of it, and I do, listening to that on my R75 or on one of the Frogs than you do looking at a Spectrum from the Elad or one of my SDR plays. But that's not to say they don't have their place. They certainly do. So I think this weekend, maybe on Sunday evening, I'm going to stay up late, and I'm going to have a tune around the HF bands, the HF broadcast bands, and see what I can hear. So the way that I do this is that I quite often, if I'm going to record some DX, I quite often will use an SDR, because it's much easier to sort of hunt around looking for signals on the tropical bands or wherever. And then if I find it an interesting signal, I'll then basically switch on one of the more interesting radios and copy it on one of those and record it on one of those radios for uploading to YouTube. So I'm going to do a bit of that. I think for hunting through broadcast bands, well, the software with the SDR Play, the SDR Uno software is very, very good. I think for recording, for doing multiple recordings, the Elad FDM SW2 software at the moment can't be beaten. So I'm going to be doing that as well. But what I'm also going to be doing, actually, I noticed that this is 189 kilohertz. So this is one of the signals from Iceland. And I haven't heard Iceland very well for a long time. Excuse me. In fact, I tuned in a few nights ago and couldn't hear anything at all on 189 or 207. So one of the things I'm planning to do this weekend is see if I can copy and record a decent signal from Iceland on long wave. When I first I tried this a few days ago and I couldn't hear anything. I actually started to concern myself that they'd stopped broadcasting, but I hadn't heard that. And I can see a sort of carrier on 189 now, but obviously it's daylight hours, so this isn't an optimum time. But that's one thing I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to see if I can get a decent recording of Iceland on one or both of their long wave frequencies. So that's about it. So basically a bit of everything. So just a bit of SSB ham radio with the 7300. VHF contest with the IC 756. Listen to the football on the Yaesu FRG 7700, and then have a little bit of sort of hunt around for DX on shortwave with the Elad, and also see if I can record Iceland with a better signal than I've heard in a long time. And so there you go. That's one fairly full weekend of radio activities. Let's just turn this up again.
Feed line, very nice. And okay, I just read it. You are using 0.6 millimeter black copper craft wire.
Yeah, I can't beat it. Like I said, I think this might be the third time I've said it, but I think in terms of value for money, I don't think you can beat the 7300. You really can't. I think I definitely made the right decision, the right choice, buying that radio. So there you go. So that's about it. So what can I say? Have a great weekend. I wish you all very good DX, those of you that are going to do DXing. Let's hope the weather isn't as bad as they say it might be. Keep safe, keep well. If you're going to go to the pub, take it easy. Don't go too mad. The safest thing to do is to stay at home and listen to the radio, that's for sure. But, I guess we've all got to go out at some point. And, no doubt, I will be I may do myself, but there's always something to do when you've got a few radios to listen to and a few antennas to experiment with. So there you go. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Keep safe, everybody, and I'll talk to you same time next week on the next update video, and no doubt there'll be some communication via comments on Oxford Shortwave Log. So all the best, everyone. 7-3. Thanks for watching.